A bedroom camera was confiscated. That's right, a bedroom camera. And 2 other cameras as well were taken from Stafford Court, the Proudfoot's home, 1 year after Sebastian Rogers went missing, 8 months ago. This is Crime Time Buzz. Welcome back, and it is so good to see you. And welcome in if you're new to us. Hit that subscribe. We have a wonderful, friendly, true crime family. We are discussing Sebastian Rogers today, and yes, you heard me correctly. It was reported on Nerdy Addict on October 15th, 2025, just a few days ago, that there was a search warrant served on the Proudfoot home in February of 2025, which is 1 year after Sebastian was reported missing in February of 2024 out of Hendersonville, Tennessee, only 8 months ago, which means they're still in the house looking. They have not named a suspect out of the home. They have not named anyone they are looking for. They have not named any RSOs. They have not showed any composite sketches of someone that might be involved. They have not put forth a possible profile of an individual they are looking for, how they might live, what they might do, hobbies, etc. We are in the home. And it's so important because we're going to break this down. It's so much more than a camera added into the bedroom of Faith, by the way, and 2 others. They took electronics, laptops, which they were given before willingly. So why the search warrant now? So we have a lot to break down. Thank you so much for being here. So a bedroom camera was placed in Faith's room, which is the daughter of Chris Proudfoot and Nina Gomez, after Sebastian went missing. And 2 other cameras were taken as well that were put up after Sebastian went missing. I wonder if they indeed may have been cameras that had been up before and taken down and put back up, allegedly, in my opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. All alleged, no one is being accused. We are hypothesizing based on information out there in the public. So a bedroom camera was taken. They came with a search warrant. Now that could mean that the Proudfoots this time said, no, you've already been here. We're not giving you everything again. You've already had it. I'm implying. Or it could mean, sometimes for the sake of trial, it's an easier, cleaner process to go in with a search warrant. Could they be preparing for trial? Could a case be being built? Well, let's talk about what it means that they're back at the house 8 months ago. So they took 3 cameras. One was in Faith's room, 2 other cameras. They took laptops and other electronics. And in order to get that search warrant, we know that they needed to have probable cause, evidence that they could go before a judge and swear that to the best of their knowledge, they believed a crime occurred at the location or with specific items that they were going to need to take in as evidence. Not a hunch, probable cause, evidence. So the crime is that happening at 1008, where they say either there was a crime that occurred here and we need those electronics that were part of that, or there were electronics that were part of a crime that are located at this address. But not a hunch. They went with evidence. So what evidence was it? Could they have been the same cameras as before? Because I find it interesting they took cameras that were not up when Sebastian went missing, 3 of them. Did they take cameras because possibly those were cameras that were up before, because Nina Gomez, who shares a daughter with CP, said when he was telling her about Sebastian going missing, she said, well, what about your cameras, Christopher? So cameras before, now we hear there were cameras after, but not during. Very different, right? If they're norms to have cameras, why didn't they have cameras when Sebastian went missing? And it also tells us something else, in my opinion. Who was home? If they're going after the electronics again that they have already seen, what triggered in their mind? Something fit, maybe. Something that they saw before now fit into something new they knew then. I don't know. But the fact that they were looking at the electronics, if something was captured that night, if something was destroyed on any of those electronics in the house that night, they'll tell where they were located with GPS. If anything was deleted, captured, recorded, destroyed, who does that point to? That points to KP, in my opinion, because her words herself, home alone, locked in at night, locked in the morning, no one else there. So if anything with activity is caught on those electronics, it will point first and foremost, never blaming, just saying she'd have some explaining to do, right? And I wonder if she did explain. Let me think about the pleading the fifth. That came a couple months. We'll talk about that. I'll have to go look at my timeline. CP also had devices there. So if there's something on one of his devices, they'll have to look and see where that device was on that night. But they're pointing to a crime occurring using the electronics and that location, those electronics, and possibly the location. And there's one person who was there to use those electronics at that location. Okay. Now I infer if they have a camera in Faith's room, to me, they had one in the other child's room, Sebastian's room, as well. Or they didn't have one in Sebastian's room, and now he's missing, so they're going to make sure they have one in Faith's room. But I lean the other way because CP seemed to like to watch him a lot, what he ate at night, his sugar, what he did at night. So it would make sense that if there's one in Faith's room, to me, that there was one in Sebastian's room, right? Now let's talk about this also. This isn't the first search warrant. They had a search warrant to do the landfill. And we know the search warrant is evidence, not a hunch, probable cause that you believe something from a crime or a crime was committed there, or something from a crime would be found there. Now, remember, it's rumored dogs hit there, and it's rumored that a fleet trash company saw them hit on a garbage bag with things of Sebastian's clothing, apparently. Okay. This is the Hopkins County Regional Landfill, and I'm bringing it up because they also had a search warrant for this. This is the landfill where the trash from Sebastian's home was taken. Now, CP claims not to have been home all month. If they have a search warrant, that means evidence to a crime. And who was the only one home that month, that night, to throw things away besides Sebastian? Katie again. Katie again. Dogs rumored to have hit. Don't know, center cadaver. And fleet trash company rumored to have seen them find something of Sebastian. Sonny Weatherford did say, and this article was buried with one that says nothing was found. Sonny did say, we found what we found. We're going to go back and look at and decide if we need to come back. That's hard to find now. He also said, we're not looking at recovery yet, but if it goes much more than a few days, we very well might be. And I'm paraphrasing that. So that's from the landfill search those days. And remember, at the time of the landfill, they had scaled back. But the point being, they needed evidence to prove something they thought was thrown away at the house at Stafford and taken here to White Plains, Kentucky, Hopkins County Regional Landfill. And there's one person who has placed himself in the house, Katie. So in my opinion, she's their number one. Does that mean if she did something? No. Does that mean they still haven't cleared her? Yes. Do I believe she had something to do with it? In my opinion, I do, because her narrative is not the same. So electronics and cameras were evidence of the crime. Those could be Katie's, Chris's, and even Sebastian's devices. If they are looking at those devices for movement, activity, deletion, recording, destruction, GPS, any of that the night of the crime on Stafford, we are to assume they're looking at Katie, because she, her own words, was the only one home. Who was home to put evidence to give a search warrant? Enough evidence that they thought things were in the trash, and Sonny said they'll go look at what they found and decide if they were going to go back. They found something, my friends. Who was there to put something in the trash? Besides Sebastian, Katie. Who was home locked in with him, Sebastian, at evening, and the door still locked in the morning? Katie. Who was home and responsible for him? Katie. Who was the last person to admittedly see him? Katie. Who is the last person to admittedly speak to Sebastian? Katie. Who is usually the first person they need to clear? The last person who was with the person, or who found the body, or a person. Law enforcement told the father, Seth Rogers, there is no evidence Sebastian left the home on his own. If he didn't leave on his own and there's only one person home with him, who was that? Katie. So if he didn't leave on his own and he's not in the home, in my opinion, we can infer Katie took him out. This is his mother, if you're new to the case, and this is Sebastian, who is now 16, was 15 when he was reported missing. So to recap, there's so much more now that we know that there was a search warrant. We've heard that rumored there was a search warrant a year later. In my opinion, it shows Katie's the number one focus, because she's the one throwing away trash that led to a landfill search, in my opinion, unless they know other people that were home. And in this one as well, because she is the only one. If they're looking for activity on the devices located in the house the night of the crime, it would be Katie. If anything was deleted, they'll be checking GPSs, right? But if they had evidence a crime occurred on Stafford and or within the electronics that were being kept on Stafford Court in February of 2025, a year later. Cameras added after. Could they be the ones that were up before? Could they be looking in the cloud to see any footage that may have been deleted? Could it be they're looking for to prove normal behavior? Well, Nina said there's cameras. There were cameras in the house. Now they've installed cameras. So why? That's their norm. Why not? It's odd, not when Sebastian went missing. So the key, in my opinion, for all the warrants and the things they're looking at would be Katie, the mother. And that doesn't, I'm not saying what she did. I think there's involvement and knowledge there. She had to let someone in or take him out, relock those doors, because there's only a few other people who have access. That would be Chris Proudfoot, Kathy Bower-Sox, Melissa Proudfoot, and the housekeeper, and Sebastian and Katie. So there's a lot more to look at than just what they confiscated, because who had access, who had opportunity, if it's at that location where the GPSs show and things are being done there's one person who claims to be there and who has claimed no one else was there. Interesting turn of events, isn't it? Hopefully that will mean they are building a case, and soon something will be brought to justice for Sebastian Rogers. And I sure hope we bring him home soon. Thank you so much for being here. Let's not forget, Sebastian is one of FBI's most wanted. There is $50,000 reward from the FBI, $450,000 from Dog's team, totaling $500,000. $500,000. Could change your life to do the right thing. Sebastian is also an Amber Alert child. His Amber Alert was sounded the day after he was reported missing by TBI. He also has Dog the Bounty Hunter, One World at Night on his team, along with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. You can call 1-800-THE-LOST, the FBI, 1-800-CALL the FBI, or Dog the Bounty Hunter, 844-922-3236. Don't lie, kids die. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that subscribe on your way out and your notification bell so you do not miss the next video. Sending vibes, thoughts, and prayers up for dear, sweet Sebastian Rogers. May we bring him home.